Hello Jason, it's Tuesday, January 7th, and let me start off by pointing out the obvious. I cut my hair. Taking to the spirit of a suggestion you gave me in your last video, I've decided to present you with a factoid. Now I don't know if I've ever told you this before, but I have a sort of irrational fear of barbers. Whoa, that got brighter. Anyway, to that end, I've typically undertaken to cut my own hair, which really limited the styles I could go with. Usually I would just shave my head bald because that was what was easiest. But with a bit of my Christmas money, I went out and I bought this, so I need never be bald again. So anyway, it may take some getting used to, but I think this hairstyle is starting to grow on me. Ba-dum-tsh. Moving on, I thought I'd address one of our challenges. In your last video, you said you wanted to start the running challenge, but said that it would be too difficult because of the weather. So, seizing up this opportunity, I drew first blood in the 500 miles running challenge. Warning, the feats you're about to witness should not be undertaken by anyone for any reason under any circumstances. Roll clip! With the weather being thoroughly unbearable in Ottawa, I take it upon myself to take the first steps into the running challenge. Now, just so you're aware, I am wearing thermal undergarments, so theoretically, I should be somewhat safe from the cold. Theoretically. So let's see if I can pull this off.
Holy crap, this is a bad idea. These thermal undergarments do not work as advertised. Holy crap. Nonetheless, 1.5 miles by the time I get home. Sucker!
All things considered, I didn't go as far as I wanted. I wanted to go 1.5 miles, and I ended up going 1.7 kilometers, which translates to about 1.06 miles. So I'll round it down to an even mile and say that I've made progress in a challenge you haven't. Now, one of the great things about this project is that we learn from the challenges that we compete in. And here's what I've learned. You shouldn't ignore weather warnings when you want to go running. Jason, if the Weather Network says there's a frostbite warning, just stay inside. Moving on again, I've made progress in my book reading challenge. As you know, I want to read 70 books by the end of the year, and the first one I read was Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. I finished it earlier today, and I have to say I thoroughly enjoyed it. Dickens is definitely the Shakespeare of the novel. Now, really briefly, it's the story of a boy named Pip who unexpectedly comes into a fortune from an unknown benefactor. It follows his adventures and misadventures as he tries to deal with this fortune and tries to uncover the reasoning for it. What really interested me was the way that he bound up this idea of prosperity with a different character in the book. I don't want to give away too much in case anyone watching wants to read it, but his obsession with being a so-called gentleman and his obsession with a certain character seem to go hand in hand throughout the entire novel. In fact, up until the very end, that's the one thing that doesn't change. Now, normally when reviewing books, people rate it based on one scale. Whether it's one type of book or another, they give it a rating out of, say, 1 out of 5, 2 out of 5, etc. But I can't help but to separate two aspects of this novel into different scales. Firstly, there's a distinct literary value to it. It is Charles Dickens. But to rate it solely based on that would give a false impression to my friends who read but aren't necessarily literary readers. So I'm going to give it 2 ratings, first based on its literary value, and second based on its entertainment value. In terms of literary value, it's quite hard to beat Charles Dickens. Like I said before, the plot of this novel is downright Shakespearean. But beyond that, Dickens struggles with issues of prosperity and fortune compared with honesty and integrity. Money's not the problem in most cases, it's opulence, it's the excessive need for money. And Dickens seems to be asking in this novel how much of ourselves it's worthwhile selling to reach that level of opulence. That definitely comes across in this novel. From an entertainment perspective though, I have to admit that the first half of this novel is pretty dry. Once you get beyond the elaborate setup though, everything seems to fall into place and you're just along for the ride. So I would say that if you don't really read a whole lot, this wouldn't be a great place to start. If you're a veteran of the written word, give it a go and I think you might enjoy it. Now, out of 5 for literary value, I would give it a 4. And out of 5 for entertainment value, I would have to give it a 3. If you want to know more, I plan on doing an analysis video once I have my side channel set up. I mean, look at all these tags that I've got here. All things that I want to talk about. So stay tuned for that and I'll let you know when it's up. And moving forward, the next thing I'm going to read is Bossy Pants by Tina Fey. I endeavor to read one biography or autobiography every month, so that's this month's. Moving on to the penultimate section of this video, I've come up with a new challenge for myself. Now, sometimes there are things people like doing that they're not very good at, but they still enjoy doing them. And I don't think not being extremely good at something should ever deter you from doing something you want or enjoy to do. In my adult life, I've only ever done 2 paintings. A few years ago, when I was interested in surrealism, I did this one. And then last year, after playing Assassin's Creed 3, I did this one. For my new challenge, I want to do 1 new painting every month for the rest of the year. Like I said, I may not be the best painter in the world, but at least I enjoy doing it, and I think that's reason enough to do it. Finally, we have the matter of chess to attend to. I'm going to let you make of this what you will. Pawn from G1 to F1.